I'm going to go ahead and get started. So this week, I'm just going to recap what we've gone through the last couple of weeks, but this week, we're going to talk about actually launching your business and then staying consistent with telling people what it is that you do. So the past couple of weeks, the first week we talked about just introducing the travel advisor or introducing you to travel advisors in the world of the travel industry. And then scroll down a little bit. We did an advisor series overview. So what we're going to talk about these next couple of weeks. And then we went into what is your niche? So what is something that lights you up? What is something that's so interesting to you that you could talk about it for days? And even if you didn't get paid for it, you could still talk about it for days, right? Because finding that passion is what's going to make it so easy for you to dive into that topic. And then after that, we talked about getting started as a travel advisor. So there's a few different models of being a travel advisor. You could be an independent contractor. You could work in a brick and mortar. You can work with a franchise. So different ways, and then you could be your own agency. So you kind of want to level up to the where it works best for you. After that, we talked about branding. So truly like going back to what is your interest, what is your niche, what is your audience, and then really creating a brand around you. Like, are you more fun and family? Are you more sophisticated and maybe more of an elderly audience where you're going to be just real luxury travel or something kind of in between? So I do romance travel. So I try and stay a little bit in the honeymoon and destination wedding realm. The next one was getting ready for inquiries. So when people are going to reach out to you, what do you need to ask them? So what's that information that you want to gather and how do you do it? And then we talked last week, just real quick on what is your pitch. So when you meet people, just that soft pitch of what is it that you do, who is it that you serve, and how can you help people? So this week we're going to jump right into launching your business. So really telling the world. So there's so many different ways to tell people what it is that you do, right? So you can have business cards, you can do word of mouth, you can do networking, you can cold call. But one of the biggest things that you know is the easiest way to do things is through social media. So you can do things like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, also this platform, which is School. So you can do that and you can let people know what it is that you do and how that you can help them. So just a few ideas here. I can show you that I have a Facebook page. I started with LinkedIn. I started with Instagram. Those are kind of my first things that I started with. I started using the branding that I had created, making sure that I had a form for them to fill out, and then just letting people know what it is that I do. And then in the staying consistent with that messaging, I'll have a little bit deeper into that in just a minute. So if you didn't know already, you can obviously have a personal profile on Facebook, and then you can also have a business page. You can also do groups. So there's lots of different ways you can use Facebook, and they all have different methods to them. So that's something that and it's always changing too. So you definitely want to look into that. But say, for instance, this is your business page. You can set up a nice picture in the background. You can use your branding again. You can use your face. You can use your logo, whatever you feel is best for your audience. And then you want to start just posting, telling people what it is you do, getting them excited. The different travel agencies use different systems. So you can use a system that helps you post things and lets people know what it is you do. And you can really hone in on the different types of suppliers or destinations that you like to focus on, things that you're familiar with. So you can do that, and they are all branded and customized to you. The one caveat with that is you usually want to go in and kind of play around with it and move things around so that it's not kind of posting to all travel advisors on the same day, the same thing. But I found it very helpful when I first started. A big reason why was a lot of it was promotional things mixed in with fun, educational, and engagement type things. But especially around times like holidays, Black Friday, and things like that, just nonstop promotions, I couldn't keep up with all of it. So I would even go onto my own Facebook page and like, oh, I didn't even know Royal Caribbean is doing this special, or there's a special going to Jamaica right now. So I found that to be very helpful. So the system we use is Branch Up. There's also Rallyo. And then there's a couple other systems. I know there's one that Norwegian uses. So you can kind of hook those up to your social media and give you a little bit of a boost when you first start, and then you can kind of pare it down. Another platform that you could use would be LinkedIn. And again, you can have a personal profile and you can have a business page there too. So you always want to start with your personal profile and like act as a human. And then attach it to a business profile where you talk more about your business. So I always liken it to, you're opening a salon or you're opening a pizza shop. You need to tell people what it is you want to do, what you do, but you don't necessarily want to mingle it with your personal page so much. You want to have your own personal life and the things that you do, and then also maybe your business page where you talk about the promotions and what's going on in the travel industry. And then, of course, the same thing with Instagram. You can have a personal profile and then you can have a business profile. So then you can talk all things business on your business profile. And each platform, I'm sure you're familiar with, is just very different in how you want to interact with people. Instagram is much more images, whereas Facebook is much more, it's images, but also conversational. But you can see the way the grid lays out that Instagram is definitely hyper focused on images and also reels. So just trying to stay in some sort of color scheme, some part of your branding with Instagram is really important when people are looking to do it at your grid. But also you can do these really cool highlight little tabs at the top where when you add things to a story, you can pull them into one of these little tabs here so they can kind of get straight to what it is they want. If they want tips and tricks or focus on weddings, deals that are going on. So you always want to be, I like to clean that up and then add new deals in almost every week. So those are just some ideas of how you can launch. I also was with someone the other day and she said, I don't have a business card on me. So I showed her what I have, and I'm just going to probably show you this. I don't know if it's going to log me in, but this is a system that we found that was free, which is always wonderful when you're first starting up as a business to have a business card that's free. So it's called Hi Hello, and you can create your business card very simply on that website. And then you can have it digitally on your, it's going to take me a minute to figure out my password. You can have it digitally on your cell phone as an app, and you can just create a QR code. Someone can tap it and they have your information. So it's very simple. So if you don't have a physical business card or you don't want to invest in that just yet either, you can always do a free digital business card. Another thing that I wanted to show that I think is really great. It's free. It's called Stamp. And it's just another little way you can start with any of the emails that you're sending, just creating a really beautiful email signature that kind of sells and kind of says, you can put a few logos at the bottom of things you sell, like maybe a cruise line or an all-inclusive that you work with. So I would say Stamp has been huge in just creating a really beautiful email signature that you can upload your image, you can do your logo and put your contact information in your email so it looks very professional. So those are some of the free things that I did when I first started. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and then that Hi Hello free business card, and also Stamp as a free email signature. So just looking really professional in your communication with your clients. So in staying consistent, I think that it's important to kind of understand the days of the week. I think that it can really get very overwhelming. You're like, what do I post this day? Do I post every day? Do I post 3 times a week? It's truly up to you and what's most important to you and where you want to start this. If you're starting this part-time or full-time. So there's, no obligation to do anything that you don't want to do. But I find Branch Up to help me when I'm feeling not inspired or right now when I'm feeling overwhelmed with just lots of quotes coming in and a lot of life happening because it's summertime. So there's a lot of commitments that we've made and we're a little bit busy. So creating some sort of schedule for yourself. I even would set alarms, 10 o'clock every morning, post some sort of content. And you can use automations so that you can put them across different platforms. So I know we've talked about that in our group too. So keep an eye on that if you start to get overwhelmed trying to post something every single day. But what I like to say is I chat GPT almost every single thing. So if I get a little stopped up on the copy, like the words that I want to put in the caption, I just say, act as an expert marketer, create an Instagram post. This is what I'm trying to say. And I'll say it in my words, but I'll say like, please clean it up or make it more fun or make it more engaging or get it to elicit a response. And then just put your call to action at the bottom of the post and then put in some relevant hashtags. That part I can do myself, but sometimes I just need a little bit of help. And sometimes I need ChatGPT to make it a lot shorter. Maybe I just want 2 sentences and I want them to be really punchy so that they get the point across. You'll find your style. So there's 4 core content types, and I just grabbed this from the internet, but I've learned this so many times in different marketing webinars that I've attended. So there's days that you want to be promoting. There's days that you want to be educating, you want to be inspirational, and you want to entertain people. So those are 4 different types of posts that you want to be doing. Aside from the fact that there's, there's posts, there's carousels, there's reels, there's shorts, there's stories, there's so many different things that there are. And there were even notes for a while, but I think that's kind of going away. So different types of media. There's also just coming up with one of these that you're like, okay, I'm going to work one of these 4 in every day. And you should probably just rotate through them is really helpful. Another way to think about it is to kind of do the days of the week. So this is another thing that I try and say, okay, today is Tuesday. So I would think travel tip Tuesday, right? Or you can talk about the news, something that's going on the news. So if you only get 1 post out a week, that's great. If you get 3 posts out a week, that's amazing. If you get a 1 every single day, that's wonderful. Honestly, there are so many people who do 3 posts a day or 3 pieces of content a day. So it doesn't have to be a post, but 3 pieces of content a day. And I'm always like, you are my hero. I'm happy if I get 1 out a day. I'm usually really good in the middle, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm good. By Thursday and Friday, I've drummed up a lot of business and I just get so overwhelmed. And then by the time it's the weekend, we just want to go in the pool and we just want to relax ourselves. So I'm not going to lie. I'm good during the beginning of the week. And you can kind of see that on my Instagram. But I do still post manually. I post when I'm feeling inspired. And I just think, okay, today's Tuesday, so I'm going to do travel tips. So today I think about what's been going on in my business lately. How Kim was just mentioning in the school group that she's getting her TSA pre-check and she got hers, but her husband didn't get his yet. So I was going to mention to her, create a travel tip on TSA pre-check because I know the other day when I was with a travel agent group, they were talking about mobile passport control. I'd never heard of it. And I'm in the industry. I just hadn't traveled in almost a year. I hadn't left the country. I've just been busy. Or actually, no, I had left in the fall, in the spring, but I had forgotten or I hadn't learned about it. So as soon as I learned about it, I Googled it. I found the website for mobile passport control. And then I made a post about it because if I learned about it and I think it's incredibly helpful, I want to pass that on to somebody else. So whenever you go to a destination or whenever you think of different types of travel, if there's something that you're just like, gosh, this is definitely information I would pass along to someone else and make their life so much easier, because not everyone travels internationally all the time or to that particular destination all the time. Like how Kim was mentioning, she goes to St. Martin all the time, or G was mentioning that he goes to Italy often. So these are the things that I would go straight to these people and say, what are the top 5 things that I need to know when I leave the country that I might not have thought of? That's how you can kind of come up with your travel tips content. If you're really feeling like uninspired, you can easily go to ChatGPT. Again, mention what it is that your niche is, what it is that your focus is, and then just say, create me 52 top travel tips for this particular niche, for this particular audience, something like that. And then if you haven't learned how to do it yet, learn how to bulk create in Canva. It is an absolute blessing. I did do a training on it. You can find it on my YouTube. So, but you can also just YouTube and go to Canva and learn how to bulk create. So I can show you in my Instagram. So it's a little more Instagram friendly. When I did my travel tips, I pick an image. I put my image down here. I do a little like, comment, and share. I do a swipe because I'm always trying to remind myself to put an image after it. So it kind of becomes like a short carousel. And then I just put my branding down here with my logo. So I created that as a background. And then just this one piece of content right here, where it says keep an eye on the news for shoes, that is the only thing that changes on every single piece of content there. So then when I share it, I always share it to my story, and then I can get into adding it into these little tabs here. So I can put these travel tips in here, and then you can kind of scroll through all the tips in one spot. Okay. So, and sometimes I do them as reels because I know reels get a little bit more engagement. So the whole purpose of today was just to talk about make sure that you launch your business. Again, you can do it through, meeting people, talking to people, handing out business cards, using a digital business card, sending out emails, creating that signature at the bottom. And then the most obvious one is always going to be some type of social media. So whatever platform you're most familiar with, Facebook is the one that I sell the most on. Instagram is a presence that I have. And I find that it really got me out of my comfort zone because I didn't know anything about Instagram when I first started this. But then I talked with someone about doing a wedding show, about doing destination weddings and honeymoons. And she said, what's your Instagram? I'm like, I don't have one. But I didn't say that. I quickly started one and I quickly started filling it and learning and going to webinars and learning the best practices on Instagram. So it grew me. And my one thing that I haven't touched yet, and I'm going to say this right now, it's July 15th of 2025. I have a TikTok. I do not touch it. It's just not something that I push myself into just yet. But I do have LinkedIn. Um, and I love this school group. I think that's a really great way to meet people who are like-minded, who are also mostly business owners or just interested in small businesses, and finding a bunch of people who love travel and like to talk about travel. So that's why I love school. And I hop into the different communities, and I want to be known as the person who anyone can come to if they need travel advice. So I hope that was helpful to you to launch your business. And then just remember, and I'll put images of this in the school group too, if that's helpful to you guys. Let me see where I already put it down here, kind of creating getting rid of the overwhelm by thinking about those 4 types of content that you want to be posting when you're launching your business. So you can't just say, hey, this is my business, put a couple links in there and then never say anything again, right? You've got to create some sort of content so that people know what it is you do and that you're always being top of mind for them anytime they want to ask. They have a travel thought or someone else mentions, oh, I was going to take a cruise, but I don't know anything, what to do. They know to reach out to you. So constantly creating content. I think it's best to keep your personal profile and then have a business page. But a lot of people have a lot of success just incorporating their entire business into their personal life because their business is their life. So do whatever it works best for you. I will say probably your personal page will get more traction with Facebook, but it just gives you all the more reason to work a little bit harder on your business page. And I know there's a couple people in here who also do Facebook groups and really just get people in that way and educate people about travel and then help them when they need, or they're just like a great source of information. But they also get referrals that way too. So even if that person's not traveling soon, they might know someone else who's traveling. So go ahead and get out there, tell people this is what you do. That's the best way to get started in the industry and start making some money is telling people what it is you do. And then once they come in, the next thing that we're going to talk about is how to actually, take that information that you have gathered with your inquiry form and actually create the quote. So I'll show you the inside of the travel agent portals so that you can really see what it looks like to book your clients, quote your clients, and then where that commission is already built in and really facilitate the clients so that they have the best trip. All right. Thanks so much for joining.